Hi everyone, I'm a PGY5 at Yale. My name is Gabrielle Peters, and I'm going to be talking about Hi-Fi, which was what I spent all of my PGY4 elective time on. So disclosures, I'm a resident at Yale, and I got funding from the RSNA to do this project. I'm hopefully going to talk fast so that I don't make us go over. I'm going to start by talking about why I did this project in the first place, kind of the assembly of the team and how we developed the entire project as well as the dissemination. I'm not really going to have time to talk about the results today, but I'll give just kind of a brief touch on what we found. So really, this was a very selfish idea. I knew I needed to study for physics and med bio, and I knew that I didn't really like the resources that were out there at the time, so I figured why not? I needed to do anyways. So the group that was involved in Hi-Fi was composed of myself and my mentor, Sue Evans, as the two radiation oncologists, 7 medical physicists from across the country. We had a graphic designer from the Yale Broadcast Studio, funding from RSNA, and the Yale Poorvu Center is like an education and learning group, and they were willing to provide some kind of feedback on our surveys and questionnaires that we were developing. So this was part of my grant application. We had a very nice, compact schedule that we were going to follow, very, very specific, and we're going to get everything done well before the time. We aimed to develop high-yield illustrative lectures, disseminate them across the country, and then evaluate the accessibility and scope of the videos. We got $10,000 from the RSNA, and we aimed to enroll radiation oncology trainees and graduates within 3 years of their medical physics boards, because we figured who better to test the pilot on than people who were immediately around their exam. We aimed to enroll 80 participants within 1 month because we anticipated there would be some dropout, as we know with all survey-based studies there are. And to motivate people, we had two $200 Amazon gift cards if you completed all of the surveys and videos. So in terms of our development, a lot of this kind of pre-video content work was done by myself and Dr. Evans. We wanted to have a validated way to assess the videos. So there is a survey out there called the TAM, or the Technology Acceptance Model. It was first published in Italian. So when I tried to trace back to the source, we had to find an Italian translator who was very nice and did it for free. And then we vetted questions through the Yale Poorvu Center of Learning. In terms of the practice questions, we wanted to have some sort of recall. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. Retrieval practice built into the videos. So we wanted to have practice questions at the end of each lecture, and those were developed through like an iterative process with radiation physicists that we were developing the content with. We had to spend some time figuring out what sort of platform we were going to use. We decided on YouTube, which seems sort of intuitive, but at the time we were kind of trying to figure out what exactly we needed from our platform. So we needed to be able to have unlisted videos so that we could track their use, look at the data of how long people were watching the videos, how many unique people were watching the videos multiple times. We didn't want them to get leaked out to other people that would muddy the data. And we liked that it had free captioning so that if there were other countries that wanted to watch it, or ASL or something like that, they would be able to watch and we wouldn't have to pay extra for captioning. This was estimated to be about $2,500 per video by our graphics designer. There's an asterisk there because he's since told me that he feels like he spent $10,000 worth of time on these videos, but he quoted us at $2,500. So the survey platform we used was Qualtrics. It's what Yale has the most experience with. We were able to embed the videos within the survey platform to make sure that people didn't have to click on an extra link. It just immediately took them to the survey right after they were done, and it tracked all of their use. It also allowed us to automate things, so as soon as they finished one survey, the second video would immediately be sent to them. In terms of creating these videos, I didn't realize how much front work there was going to be. So some of this is just to tell you guys my experience of how this happened. Yet we had to create the avatar. We wanted to make them, generalizable. We needed to kind of do a lot of work on that. Even in the front end, it took a couple of weeks even to get the animations right and the LINAC. our graphic designer had literally no experience in radiation physics, and it turns out that's sort of hard to explain on the fly. And then we also needed to have a capacity for 3D views because we're presenting things in a lot of different ways. So the initial progression that we were doing was we would write a script and we would try and vet it through all of the people. We'd wait for weeks, to get feedback and what do you think about this? And it's in the middle of the pandemic and nobody has time to do something like this, which is, we're not compensating them for their time. And so it took a long time for this first video. Then we would take this master script and then we would think about graphics, which was the wrong way to do it. And so what ended up happening was we started to divide and conquer. People had thoughts and desires about what part they actually wanted to be involved with. So Jay Burmeister and Eric Ford, who are like brilliant in radiation physics and can just spew stuff off the top of their head, can do a quick video just showing kind of the basics. Then Sue and I and one of our colleagues in medical physics, Holly, could make that into a script, and then we could feed that to the graphic designers or the animator kind of storyboarding team, which were these three people at UCSD, Derek, Todd, and Titania, who helped us storyboard. And then this became a very iterative process where there was a lot of feedback back and forth and moved a lot quicker. Also, something that was really cool, if I click this, does it work? Yes. Was this thing called Frame.io, which is a platform which is amazing in that our animator could upload videos here. You can go to the exact time that you want to make a change or make an edit at, you pause it, you write your comment, and then once I hit send, the comment will pop up in the right-hand side. It will be linked to the exact time that I had the edit or the question, and that he can go back and kind of check them off one by one as he does them. The other nice thing that I'll show in a second is that you can also even draw on the screen to show them kind of exactly what you're wanting them to do. I will say that even though we had this, and this made videos 2 through 4 a lot easier to do, it still really does not replace face-to-face interactions. And eventually what we ended up doing was just meeting once a week to kind of go through things. I would make a bunch of comments and he'd be like, I don't even know what that word is. Like, what's an MLC? Like, what do you mean photon? What is that? So, so I realized that I don't really speak. I was speaking in like terms that he wasn't even understanding, which contributed, I think, a lot that we ended up having. So we disseminated the project through Twitter and emails from eDrop and ShareApp. I made an infographic, which was free to make on the website, and we got a logo by Imran Chowdhury, which was a resident at one of at another institution who was great. Our pilot lasted 1 month, and just a brief picture of the results. We enrolled 200 people in 1 month, which was greater than 200% of our goal. Ultimately, only 153 people were eligible, but we had a 79% completion rate. And I think that what was great is that we had about 22% of participants that were from outside of the US, which I was happy about. I think some things to just note is that 72% of residents felt like there were insufficient physics education made specific for rad-onc residents, because there's a lot out there for radiology, and that there is a definite need for free resources. I'm not going to go into this whole plot here, but I think that overall, every 100% of the participants felt like they would recommend these videos to their co-residents. One interesting thing was that even though a lot of the participants said that this was either the right duration or the videos were too short, the average watch time per video actually was hovered between 60 and 80%, no matter what the time was. Even the video that was the shortest, which was like about 9 minutes, the watch time still went down to kind of stay within that same ratio. Since the pilot, the number of views has gone very high. We're up at around 500 for almost every video just since we released them publicly, which is great. And hopefully they'll be able to use for people taking their boards. So lessons learned, this is Doug in the back. We got him a Yale therapeutic radiology hat and some chocolate chip cookies. That was about Those were our bribes for him. There's a high demand for graphic lectures in radiation oncology, specifically in this space. Make your team aware of the timeline up front and divide and conquer, playing to your team's strengths and desires. Make your graphics and your script simultaneously so that you're thinking about what you want to say. And so like there can be zooming in and there can be arrows, and it just helps a lot to do that at the same time. Frame IO is excellent, but face-to-face is better. So thank you.